Guys, Tuesday night rapid fire. I'm here with Mark Savage, the director of Purgatory Road, which has recently hit a release in Australia. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Hey, I'm great, Glenn. How are you?
Really good. I hope you're ready for some rapid fire questions. It's
Hit me.
it's fun doing this. I like to
All right.
throw some really spontaneous stuff at people and catch them off guard. Let's see how you field them. I reckon you'll be right.
All right.
Now, for people that don't know, Mark was on the podcast on Monday. So if you go back and listen to the recent episode, you can hear us talking all about Purgatory Road, amongst other things. So we're going to get straight into it. Who was the first filmmaker that you took note of as a kid?
Um, First filmmaker, I'd say probably John Glenn. Seeing his name on a Bond film.
It's amazing how many times James Bond comes up as an early memory for so many people.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the first time because I can't remember which one it was seeing, but my father took me to see early Bond films like Diamonds Are Forever, Thunderball, stuff like that.
Yes. Oh, excellent. And this is probably a heavy one for the second question, but what's the hardest part of filmmaking?
I'm dealing with the ups and I'm sort of like dealing with the ups and downs of distribution and financing.
Yep. That's a pretty common answer, I guess. It's
Yeah,
the hustle.
yeah,
What was
yeah.
your favorite movie as a kid?
Valley of Gwangi.
What is that? I've heard that.
The dinosaur. It's a dinosaur. It's a dinosaur film. So Ray, it was my first exposure to Ray Harryhausen, and it's very similar to. It's also very similar to the film 20 Million Miles to Earth, and it's sort of like a cowboy dinosaur film. I mean, it's essentially a mix of cowboys and dinosaurs. Cowboys go and capture a dinosaur, bring a dinosaur in to show it. Dinosaur goes nuts.
My type of movie.
Yeah, and I thought it was totally real. Like, when I saw it, because I saw it at such a young age, I saw it at such a young age, and I just fell in love with the whole idea of and it was made me sad because the dinosaur kills a couple of other animals, which to me was just kind of devastating.
Magical stuff though. Harryhausen, awesome. Are you a shorts in
Yeah,
the summertime kind of guy?
no,
No, neither am I.
I'm definitely not. I very rarely wear shorts, except just maybe to go swimming or that kind of thing. No, I'm still mostly jeans and t-shirt or jeans and polo shirt almost any time, or flannelette shirt. That hasn't changed.
All right. What are three things that you miss about Australia?
Oh God, yeah, there really are heaps of things. Okay, three. Just Australian sense of humour. Really miss that Australian sense of humour. The sausage rolls and 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 the sort of just the whole kind of I also I really like the vibe of Australian genre fans.
Yeah.
Completely different to American genre fans. In a way, almost more in a way, almost more kind of fanatical, but in a really sort of informed way. I'd say American fans, Australian fans. I think also because we're in Australia and it's an island. I think it's developed a muscle in us that always wants to see more and reach outside and pull more things in more than America, which in a way Americans are almost raised as if this is the center of the world. Australians are more raised as this is not the center of the world. We're at the bottom of the world. So we bring all this stuff down to us. And I think that is why you see a lot more genre books, so many even genre books and podcasts and stuff emanating from Australia in a way, a lot more in proportion to the population than say maybe the US.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Well, if you're ever in New York, I think there is an Aussie bakery that does sausage rolls. It's called Banksia.
I wasn't aware of that, but I really do miss. I really do miss that. I mean, I've lived here for I've lived here for like 12, 13 years, and I mean I do go back, and I probably will move back completely at some point. But yeah, I mean, I really do miss it. I miss shooting in Australia too. I mean, it's just a different vibe shooting with an Australian crew as opposed to an American crew. It's just a whole different thing, different vibe.
For sure. Now this might tickle the nostalgia bone. What are three? Hang on. Which of these three things would you bring back? Sunny Boys, original Milo bar, or the Polly Waffle?
Sonny Boy.
Yeah, that's my answer
And
too.
Raz.
Yeah. Why did these things have to leave us?
I know, like, I mean, it's sad that they're gone. I mean, did you ever used to get frees where you basically push it out and there'd be a little print inside and you'd actually have a free one?
Yeah.
You live for that.
Mate. Yeah, we won't even start on fags.
Yeah, I know, it was great. No, you're right. No, don't even start on that.
Okay. Your film Purgatory Road has a strong sort of sacrilegious theme. Have you faced much backlash from the Bible Belt areas of the States?
No, I wouldn't say. I actually wouldn't say I've faced a lot of backlash. I think in a way because most people I think watch it and I probably more sort of find that rather the say perhaps the entertainment aspect of it, the violence and bloodshed and the drama and stuff kind of overrides to some extent the message. And I think in a way that's kind of a good thing because I don't want people just watching it and going, that's a complete anti-religion diatribe. No, what's interesting when we're shooting it though, we'd stop the van and sometimes people would come up there and ask us if they could do confession in the van.
What?
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. They would, because what would happen is that it wasn't always me that was there doing this, but or someone would go and get gas before we actually went and got the did the next scene or whatever, and then they'd say, oh yeah, while I was there, these two people came over and said to me, oh, is it this is a confessional? Is it open for confession now? So not backlash. It was more like people interested in what we were doing and wanting to be part of it, which was completely bizarre.
Oh, you should have said yes and gotten some juicy secrets out of people.
I know. You're right. I know. That's a big fail on our part.
What is your favorite part of filmmaking?
Oh, I would say favorite part is once I love working with the actors on the set. I really do love the whole literally every day coming in and going, this is a page of script, and at the end of the day you've turned that page into something that's on the screen, and that you've worked with you work with the cast, you work with crew and all that to make something magic. I mean, that really is pretty amazing. And I should also mention my second favorite has got to be at that point when I start basically putting down the music and mixing the music with the sound, because I'm really, really music focused on movies, and I work with a great composer, Glenn Gabriel, and it's almost orgasmic for me to get a track from Glenn. He'll have sent something through, and I can't wait. I get up in the morning, there's like 2 new tracks, and I listen to it, and oh my god, it's just the best experience in the world. There's almost nothing that can equal that.
His music's fantastic, and for people listening or watching, if you go back to the podcast on Monday, we played one of his tracks before our interview, and yeah, it's really atmospheric.
Yeah, and on Purgatory Road there is a soundtrack album as well. It is on CD, and I think at the moment you can just get it off somewhere like Amazon or something like that. But yeah, we kind of ummed and ahed about doing that. About should we put out a score? And I said, yeah, let's put out a score, because a lot of indie scores just don't get put out or get really, really tiny little additions. So I said, no, your music is so good. So it was a great process even going through it and picking the ones we're going to use, because we used a lot of them. We can't use them all. And then Glenn slightly remastered it for CD as well. But that whole process was fantastic. I mean, gotten very close to Glenn. Gone over to Sweden as well, and worked with him over there and all that stuff. So I really like him and his manager Jens. Both of them, just love working with the Swedes. Love Sweden so much. That's another country I'd love to live in. It's just a beautiful place.
For sure. And if you weren't a filmmaker, what would you be doing?
I reckon something like maybe psychotherapy.
Yeah, cool. It's a strange question to ask a filmmaker, because usually, it's like, well, that's all they know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, with me, it's all I've been doing and making a living at for maybe since I'm about 23, 24. But I don't I do other things. I also DP stuff. I do some work for NHK Japan, for also BBC, and various things like nature stuff. So I do some cinematography stuff for nature stuff. I also do some work for Shout Factory as well, Screen Factory. I do extras shooting interviews and that kind of stuff, which I love doing. That's really great. Work with a guy called Justin Beam, so that's enjoyable as well. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've done. But I'm always very interested in the whole kind of psych. I mean, that's the most interesting stuff to me about filmmaking, in a sense. Storylines and storylining is the human behavior. To me, that's the kind of films I like, because human behavior is so inconsistent, and that's what movies are about.
Yeah,
movies are about the inconsistency of human behavior. I mean, animals you can rely on. You have a dog or a cat, you can rely on them. They're going to act very consistently. But they're very, very rarely out of they're very rarely out of character.
And yet,
whereas human beings, whoa!
And yet they never say don't work with humans.
That's right. And in a way, that would be the best advice of all.
What is a typical day in lockdown like for you?
Okay. Well, getting up doing an interview with you. But I would say, yeah, for me, I pretty much get up. I eat usually either oatmeal or something called raw meal, which is almost like a shake. It's like a health thing that I have like in a bottle, shake it up. Then I'll get on the internet for about half an hour, answer emails, and then I basically get down and start doing stuff to do with storylining. I'm working on 2 other films at the moment. One about a mermaid, which we're going to shoot in Thailand, but it's a dark film about a mermaid. It's more like mermaid. Think of, yes, it's Splash meets kind of Gaspar Noé sort of thing. It's more that type of more that kind of thing. So yeah, I'll do storylining. I'll have conversations with people who are either like my co-writing partner Tom. He's also like exec produces my films. Like we talk like every second day or so. And I usually try to watch a movie nearly every night too, but around 11 o'clock usually, like before I go to bed, I'll usually watch a movie. I go out, I try to go for a drive. Like I live reasonably close to the beach, so I go for a drive quite a lot. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much when you're a filmmaker, it's kind of, you would know the same thing, that when you're involved so deeply in all this stuff, it's always in your head.
Yeah.
There's no point when it's kind of like you put it aside. I mean, I still hike a lot. I go hiking and stuff, but mostly I'm always working on. I storyline all the time, and I do that even more than write scripts, because that's the way that I get to a point where is this worth becoming a script? So I'm very big on structure, and I'll constantly be restructuring things, and only till I get to a point where I go, okay, the structure's working, would I write it? I won't just write a script like from scratch, which some people do, and that works for them. It doesn't work for me. I have to write a storyline, like 5 or 6 pages, then see if that's working structurally. If it's not, I'll just keep reworking, or I'll throw it away and do something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my day.
Well, you heard it here, folks. An exclusive: oatmeal.
Oatmeal. yeah. That's a takeaway. Yeah. That's if nothing else, I can go to my grave with oatmeal.
All right. Do you have a favorite live action Disney film? It can go right back.
Yeah. I would say probably my favorite live action Disney film is probably The World's Greatest Athlete.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm not personally that much into Disney movies, but yeah, I actually like those really old ones. Like the Kurt Russell World's Greatest Athlete, I think is really. It's just a very funny. It was funny to me when I was a kid. Anyway, I saw it at the drive-in with my parents at the Clayton drive-in.
Wow.
At the Clayton Twin.
I'm a big fan of those sort of 1950s, even 1940s ones, like Third Man on the Mountain and Follow Me Boys, all those classic Fred McMurray.
I must admit, I haven't seen Third Man on the Mountain. I should see that based on your recommendation.
Yeah, do it. It's like the predecessor to Everest. It's actually a serious drama that they were trying to produce about the perils of mountain climbing, but it also has a very Disney-esque kind of feel to it as well. But it's great.
Oh, okay, that sounds really interesting.
We have got a couple more to go. Do you have any non-film related hobbies?
Okay, non-film related hobbies. I collect kind of grotesque dolls.
Oh, excellent.
Sort of like this one's I'll find in like op shops or in antique shops. Those older ones with like cracked heads.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've got it. Okay, I can actually, just a moment, I'm going to show you one. I have one right here, like this kind of thing.
Oh yeah, terrifying.
Yeah, so I definitely have a penchant for those. So like often I'll stop somewhere, even when I'm driving along, even when I see like, oh, people have thrown some stuff out, or they have like a yard sale, and I'll often go in there and like go through it and find something like that, and it's just like incredible. So yeah, I have about 100 of those, 150 of those.
Is it the fact that it's sort of aged and decrepit, or is it the fact that there's a history with it? What's the appeal for you?
Yeah, I'd say it's both. I'd say it's I'd say I love I sort of like find it in a way. In some ways, I find myself also kind of sympathetic to the doll.
Yeah.
Because at some point that doll was like it was loved and cherished by a child and their parents, whatever. And the fact that it's sort of it's either got abandoned or age has been unkind to it. That I almost feel like a certain sort of sympathy that I should rescue it at least before it gets any more decrepit. But there's a beauty in the decrepitness. Like if you just look at its features, I mean, just the fact that
look at that,
like these beautiful cracks and the eyes and back of the head, like it's just like. I mean, you can't buy dolls like that,
well,
So the thing is, I love the fact that it's like in a sense what you're saying, like naturally aged. So yeah, I mean that's definitely one of my non film related hobbies. Aside from that, like no, I mean I collect Garbage Pail Kids. I love Garbage Pail Kids too.
Yes.
I just watched a documentary. I was just in Vegas doing something, and my friend Tim Chisma. So I knew it was out, but I hadn't watched it. I just watched that new Garbage Pail Kid documentary, which was amazing. Yeah, I love Garbage Pail Kids. I've got pretty much everything that's ever been created by Topps on the Garbage Pail scene in terms of cards. I mean, I don't have many of the foreign editions and that kind of stuff, but which are really rare. But yeah, there's just something amazing about Garbage Pail Kids.
Amazing.
I just love it.
Amazing. And now possibly the most important question of the entire conversation. If you were going into lockdown for 6 weeks and you were only allowed to take one Chuck Norris movie with you, which one would it be?
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, I reckon I think probably Way of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
And I mean, I mean, because I like it. I mean, I also like I really like Silent Rage as well.
Oh yeah, that's been hot on the tip of a lot of people's tongue lately. I guess people are finding it on streaming services, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw that when it first came out at the movies.
Wow.
And in Detroit, because I lived in Detroit for several years, and that's when I saw films like that, Silent Rage, and Dr. Butcher MD. I saw all those films like at the movies in Detroit. There's just something about that film. I just love it. It's because it's a horror action hybrid.
Yeah.
I love hybrid movies. I think that's what it is. I love films that are hybrids of genres rather than just more kind of straight down the line genre films.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Makes them interesting. And now before we sign off, one final question for you: is there anything at all that you'd like to spruik and let people know that you've got coming up?
Yeah, well, just released in Australia is my the film my last release film, which is Purgatory Road, horror sort of crime hybrid. It's on Fetch TV, Google Play, and iTunes. In Australia, I believe it just was released last week. So if people want to take a look at that, that'd be great. And my next film is Painkiller, which is about Michael Paré and Bill Oberst. Basically, Oberst takes on Big Pharma and is not subtle about the way that he deals with the Big Pharma assholes that were kind of like ruining the world.
Mate, cannot wait. Thank you so much for, one, being on the podcast earlier in the week, but also for taking the time out to sit in the hot seat there and let me fire questions at you. It's been fun.
Well, it's been fantastic, Glenn, and any time I'm here, even at 6 o'clock in the morning.
When Painkiller comes out, let's do it again.
Yes, yeah, I'd love that.
All right, until then, mate, take care and good luck with it.
Okay, thanks, Glenn.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
Repentance, 12 Hail Marys, 6 Our Fathers.
So what's going on in there?
My brother's a priest. He's in there hearing confessions right now.
I'm looking for some fellas that used to live here. You might have known the second fellow as Father Vincent.
And these heathens, these godless vultures take from us Now they must pay for their sins with their blood and the blood of their children.
She was an addict and a thief.
Well, she's my baby girl.
I knew you boys needed an assistant.
I have my own church now, my own rules.
Is there any way I can be part of your crusade?
Nobody's good child. Good is something we try on like a coat that never fits.